Oh, it's working. Yay. Oh, my closet again. Sorry. It's working. Let me cover myself. Make sure I'm not hanging out. Why is everything crooked? I hate mirrored images. It makes me feel weird. That way. Left, right, left, right. Doo, 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 doo. All right. Hey there, if anyone's here. Hey, monitor, or whoever you are. All right, so this is going to be a weird video for me. It's going to be very difficult to do. First, I'm going to touch on some holistics. My disclaimers will be in the description box. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. Please seek out your chosen professional for such advice. Forgive me, I'm having some body issues, some anxiety, and food is a problem for me right now. Is it for you? I think I know the issue with that. I don't know much, I don't know a lot, but the things I do know, I try to share. I know people, I know some human behavior, I know the people that I love. Uh, Beyond that, we know very little here, right? So I try to share what I do know. And this is going to be a strange video for me specifically. So I'll do the best that I can. Using this right now, I try to use it a couple times a month. Again, mirrored images are kind of hard for me. So forgive me if I have to try a couple times when I show you things. So that's what I'm using. I recommend intermittently breaking, fasting from things. Denying yourself is something we should get used to. So this is going to be a story time. I'm going to talk about a memory that I have. It's something that I go back to like every now and again. But since watching these TikTok videos about the GATE program, the gifted and talented program at school, this memory has come back. So I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about injectables a little bit and certain drinks and colored drinks that maybe some of us were given and kept in our fridges at home, maybe. So, yeah. When I was, and I remember, like, I don't know for you guys, like, how far back your memory goes, but mine goes way back, like, way back. So, when I was probably, and when I recall memories, and you can look back in my videos for this, I'll look up and to the right often just to like have that recall. And it's very odd for me to look at the one eye of a camera. I like to have eye contact when I speak with somebody. So it's weird for me to look at a camera. I'm not an actress. So often you'll see me looking up and to the right. That's what I'm doing, is just recalling and visualizing in my mind's eye the memory so I can talk about it. Um, all my story times are like that. So, yeah. I'm being naughty because I have a lot of indigestion. So I am, doing the soda thing. Please don't ride me too hard about that. But yeah, food is weird. And I think I know why that is. But before I get to that, I'm going to try and go in order a little bit. So when I was younger, my parents were together for a period of time until I was about 3 or 4. We lived in a borough of Pittsburgh called Wilkinsburg. Now, back then in like the late 70s, early 80s, if you've ever seen Sesame Street, that's kind of what the city looked like back then. It was loud, kind of dirty, but you saw all kinds of people. You didn't need to have like DEI programs. There was just all kinds of people in the cities back then, skinny, tall, uh, you know, pasty, tan, brown, black, chunky, um, short hair, long hair, suits, blue collar. So the cities were just full of people. Uh, Truthfully, there was just people everywhere. And so we lived in. My dad always liked to say, we lived in a condo, and we lived in the penthouse of a condominium because we lived in the top apartment in the top floor. And I remember I was so little, we would go down to the basement to do the laundry, and my mom would carry me in the laundry basket all the way up to the top floor. And I was a lonely child. I spent a lot of time alone. I still spend a lot of time alone, and I'm going to get into that a little bit. Anyone out there that's like me or was in some type of gifted or talented program, and again, this is not to give myself props, and you'll see why that is in a minute. A lot of us, or if you skipped a grade, right, if you were advanced, you spent a lot of time alone. Or you were passed around amongst a group of adults. You spent a lot of time with grandmas, right? Aunts, uncles, a lot of people who were older than you. And so you were used to doing this, right? And I remember this one time I was standing in the window of the condo and I was looking outside, just kind of being lonely, wondering, what it was like to be one of those cool kids down there at the park. And now a city park was like, if you ever saw Sesame Street, it was a basketball court, fenced in, right? Like something you'd see on NYPD Blue or something like that. And it was fenced in, and you'd see like kids down there playing basketball, shirts versus skins. And back then, the park area would have like rubber cement, like so people. That was our version of grass. It would be like green, even, kind of like rubber cement. So you kind of bounce as you walk, and if you fell, it wouldn't hurt as bad almost. And that would be like in the swing area and like the park area, not the basketball court area. And I remember looking down, and there was this girl. She was roller skating, and I remember thinking in my head something to the effect of like, "Oh, that's dangerous. She's gonna fall, or she could fall, or she will fall." But at the same time, I was kind of like, and remember, this is all happening all at once, like in my mind, and I'm like, "Oh, she could fall, or she will fall. She might fall and get hurt, right?" And then the next instant, boom, she's on the ground, and her knee was bleeding. And I wrote this in my journal. I should pull my journal up to just like make sure I don't skip a part. So if I look weird, I'm reading. And yeah, I wrote in here, this is just like one more strange aspect of the past 6 years has been that like old forgotten memories have been bubbling up to the surface of my mind. As I told this counselor that was suggested to me by an old acquaintance, we had a lot of old acquaintances just pop up over the last 6 years out of nowhere. It was as if the compartmentalization in my mind had stopped working. And it was as if my life is truly flashing before my eyes, but it's taking a lot longer than just a moment. It's taken, these last 6 years instead of just a moment. There's a Catholic prophecy that calls this the illumination of conscience. And that's why I believe in it, because it's been happening to me over this last 6 years. And for me, since 2018, I've been going through my own personal tribulation period. I've even asked myself a few times, am I deceased? Did I die? When I had this near death experience, a couple of them in 2018, 2019. And I know I've spoken with some of you and received some of your emails, and some of you have had these same experiences in 2018 and 2019. And I even remember seeing videos of people in LA with the skies all red, asking for help, and why weren't you getting help? And so all of this feels very eerily familiar. I'm not sure what's going on there. And I've mentioned that before too. Okay, so my soul seems to be going through like this 12-step thing where it's wanting to mend all these old wrongs that I've done. And I thank God's Holy Spirit for that, showing me where I need to do all of this work and this purging in this kind of purgatory. I mean, I still bleed, so I guess I'm not deceased, right? So in this memory, when this girl fell down and started bleeding, I remember I was like horrified because I'm going to close this now. I was like horrified because I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, like, did I make that happen? And I called my mom over because, again, I was an only child. And I was a lonely child. And I would spend a lot of time with my mother. And I was like, Mom, like, oh my gosh, guess what just happened? Like, I think, I made this girl, da 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 da. I knew it was going to happen, or I made it happen. And I felt so bad. And my mom, and the girl had looked up at me. And remember, I was up on the top floor of this building, and my mom came to the window and pulled me away. And this is all happening in a matter of 1 or 2 minutes all together at the same time. So she comes over and she pulls me away. And this isn't the only time that something like this has happened to me in my life. And I've mentioned these things happening throughout my life. And I think that's why I find myself in this position that I'm in today. When I started seeing videos about this GATE program and these hearing tests, I've always had this tinnitus thing, and then they started putting tubes in my ears. But I had those hearing tests, and I don't know how to put this. I can hear certain tones that other people can't, right? And I can hear whispers and people that are talking in other rooms that other people can't hear. But it takes me a while to put it together. I'll say, what? You know what I mean? What'd you say? And certain tones hurt my ears that don't hurt other people or bother other people. But I have a steady tinnitus at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. I've always said my hearing was bad, right? But it's almost like I've had hearing that was too good. I hear too well. That I don't know. It's like all my senses are just ultra more. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm sharing these things because, number one, we defeat the enemy through the blood of the Lamb, right? Through the sacrifice and through the word of our testimony. I believe that we all have these, I don't think our junk DNA is junk. I think we are each given this unique gift that is unique to each of us. And we're not supposed to be automatons or copies of each other, right? And I think that is a counterfeit kingdom, a satanic kingdom, cryptocurrency, blockchain, Luciferian concept, old Navy, that is not a godly idea. God wants us all to be unique. We are a part of the same body and the same kingdom. In his eyes, we can be, but there are unique gifts that we are each given. So in that vein, to go on, I was in a program like that, and then they advanced me a grade. And so it was very hard for me to adjust and make friends again. And I told you in an earlier testimony video about how certain traumatic events, I think, were forced upon me so that I would forget other things. Like when my girlfriend had that tablet and we watched the penguins, and she snuck showing it to me. And the only way I could describe it at the time was as an Etch-a-Sketch scat pad with a screen. But then she was sent to Kansas because she was pregnant, right? She was sent away. I can't believe I believe that stuff. And my mom always said I was gullible, right? But I believed her because she was my mother. And they sent me to church, and I thought people didn't lie. And I do think that's one of the worst things you can do. I see people, that's the thing. Most people say they're a Christian here. We say we're a Christian nation, but we're not. And deception, that's one of the worst things that you can do. And I'm going to show that I can play along with this idea in a minute here. And I want to research a couple of things. Maybe if anyone shows up, I know I had an issue with the stream going live because my laptop needed to restart or whatever, but we'll see. Anyways, so I want to touch on a couple other things real quick because there's a lot happening, and there's a lot happening very quickly. And I have a lot of, like, I know a lot now at this point, more than I did, but I think we have to come to some conclusions ourselves. And it's not that I'm keeping secrets or I don't want people to know things. It's just that even when people told me about certain things, again, I didn't believe them. They're telling us the truth and we're just not believing them, that they're here with us. They've been here the whole time. They didn't go anywhere, right? Like they've always been here. And now some of us, because of all this, like, have these mixed bloodlines. Please forgive the hair and all that. I don't know if I should keep it covered or what. I'm really going back to the roots. I'm just using like rosemary oil and lavender, and I'm just trying to cleanse my vessel, because that's the thing too. The more honest that you are, the more you walk in truth, the cleaner that your vessel is, and the more aligned you are, the more truth and frequency vibrate off of you, the more you know when someone is deceiving you. And that's important right now. That verse talking about, to me, it really means if the elect could be deceived, that means if you are an elect, you really can't be deceived. Like, you can't. It's impossible. I hate mirror images. Like, I really hate them. So I told you about that. Now I want to tell you about something else that has to do with lucid dreaming. And I'm telling you about this for a reason, because I want to try and awaken things in you. Because in this time, there are certain abilities that we all have that if you can wake them up during your conscious hours, if you can wake up these subconscious abilities, they will serve you very well, because you're going to need them. And that's why I'm telling you about my experiences, because that's what I needed. I needed to hear somebody else talking about them for me to recall them. And it's kind of like a pass it along effect, right? Like I have a candle and mine is lit, and you have a candle and yours isn't lit. And I'm going to take my lit candle and light yours. And then you're going to take yours and light the next person's. I had to hear about somebody else talking about it for it to ignite in mine. So that's why I talk about these things, so that you'll, like, yeah, I know that. Some of these things you're going to be able to use to discern what is happening and what is truth and what is not. Because yes, some of these things are supernatural in essence and origin and from God. Some of them are from darkness, and some of them are just false signs and wonders, and they're not legitimately real at all. So having told you, like, when I was a child, was I actually manifesting things to happen, or was I just predicting the outcome? Number one, what is witchcraft? If the fallen ones taught us witchcraft, what are we doing right in the here and now that is witchcraft? We cannot sit on our hands, right? God did not create us so that we would just sit on our hands and do nothing and be nothing. So obviously, some part of technology, all of this is God's, right? So then witchcraft is the inversion and the perversion of what God already gave us, already what he already owns, okay? So witchcraft then is all about intention, which is, again, go back to the fairy tale, which is pervert everything of God's, which is manipulate consent. They stampede over your consent, and they consume flesh. Like, they actually, they go against God in that way too. Like, they do what Satan does. They kill, they steal, and they destroy. They consume you, every part of you, if they can. Like, that's what they do. And I know like I'm coming out with a lot like off the cuff lately, but again, time is short. Like we don't have time really to like be mincing words and all this stuff. Like we just can't do that. Okay. So having said that, now let me tell you about I want to tell you about this lucid dreaming experience because I think it might help you to understand more of what you are and where your power comes from. So I had this dream where I was not, well, no, I'll tell you, you know what I'll tell you about my near-death experience when I was 3, because it's the same thing. It was the exact same as this lucid dream. When I was 3, I woke up with a very, after my mom and dad had split, so I was about 3 or 4, I woke up with a very bad tummy ache, and I still remember it because it was so traumatizing. And my side hurt really bad, and I could not go to the bathroom, and I could not figure out what was wrong. All I knew is that it hurt really bad. And so my mom rushed me to the hospital, and here it was appendicitis, and they thought I was going to die. And I remember the priest over me, he was giving me my last rites, and I left my body. And how do I know I left my body? Because I saw the priest giving me my last rites, and my mom was on the phone in the other corner of the room, and I heard her on the phone with my dad, and I heard the conversation she was having with my dad, and I saw her holding my stuffed animal, which was an incredible Hulk doll. So not only did I see the priest giving me the last rites, but I also heard my mom having the conversation on the other side of the room with my dad on the phone in the hospital. So I was out of my body, the observer on the other end of the room, and I heard the phone call. I had a dream like that too, where I was not only the observer of the dream, but I was also the participant and the other participant. What does this mean? How to explain this? This means first that you have more power than you know. Second, your vessel is a part of your soul. It has more importance than you know. There is a reason that they want you to give up your consent to that vessel. There is a reason they are on this big push to get consent for like euthanasia in other countries, okay? And I want to show you again that I can play along with a couple of things. But I got to cover 2 more things real quick, and then we're going to get to that. I might have to pause the video real quick, though, because my dog is a little fussy. Okay. Let me do this. Hold, please. Do this. I don't know why that wasn't set up. I am going to take you here, and I'm going to share my screen, so give me a minute. Over here. There we go. And share. Did it work? It did, I think. Let me check. Yep. I see it. All right. All right. I'm going to write a message here. All right. I'm going to pause that right there and get rid of my messy mess there real quick. And I will be right back. Is there a way to pause it? Can I just, does it let you pause here? Wow, sorry about that. Okay, so thanks for playing along there. I am going to pull something up, and I need you to be patient because this is going to be a little weird. Of course, it is because it's me. Now, I told you about this flashback memory that I had, and I told you it came from hearing about that GATE program and the gifted program and how I skipped a class and how I had that near death experience, and about getting in touch with like this clairvoyance and how it has to do with cleaning out your temple and your system, and about how you can hear the truth frequency more the more you clean out your temple, right? So truth has a frequency like a bell, and it rings, right? And it sounds good. And if it bounces off of you and it has a bad vibe, you know that that person's not telling you the truth. But if you're surrounding yourself with like bad vibes anyway, like poor rap music, and you're eating a lot of junk food and a lot of sugar, and you are you're a liar yourself, right? You're deceiving, you're doing things that are wicked. Um you're not going to know when somebody's lying to you. If that's all you're pouring out of your mouth is deceptions, well then that's all you're going to be receiving, and you're not going to know any better either, right? And I'm just being real here. This is obviously real talk. We're all adults here. We are at a point here on this channel where we are seeking to do better. We know we need to do better here, and we're being accountable here. That's the kind of people that we are, right? Like we know we need to do better, and we want to do better. Okay, so having that thought in our minds, right? That we need to have this search for truth, and that when we're searching for truth, that we ourselves need to be vessels of truth, right? All right, so once I skip those grades, and then I don't want to sound ungrateful or anything or whatever, but how do I bring this into the topic here? I have people posting the comment, am I insulted? And I'm going to do a search while I talk about this. Am I insulted, or does it insult me? The topic, did Christ already come? And this is a specific doctrine, and I forget what it's called. So I don't want to use the wrong word. Orthodox, what is it called? Hyperpreterism. Hyperpreterism. Okay. Hold, please. I'm still here. And I know you're looking at a page that says Disney animatronics. There's a reason for that, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Okay, so I have people asking me, did Christ, right? And I'm talking a lot about deception, right? Now, here's the thing. The Bible tells us that God, yikes. The Bible tells us that God hides things, that he conceals. Now, is that deception in of itself? No, not really, right? Especially considering that when God sent his son here, we did not do him right? We did not do him good. I mean, look what we did. And again, on this channel, we're adults, we're accountable here. We know we need to do better, and we're on a search for truth, and we're on a search to be vessels of truth, right? So we have that, and that's what we're doing, right? Should I delete that? Can I delete it? Can I delete it now? Yes. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So let's play this game. All right. Did he already return? And why in the beginning of this was I talking about my testimony and clairvoyance and telepathy? Possibly be wrong about these things, about the Nephilim being here with us and things of that nature. That's my problem. If Christ already came, there would not be all this wickedness here. Point blank. If he was already here, these things would not have happened. Now, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, okay? But they are here. Now, I don't know if what they show us on the screen is just symbolic What do I mean by that? I mean that back in the day, the Native Americans would put their hands up in greeting to see how many fingers there were. They would say how, as in how many fingers? Because Nephilim, because of the genetic differences, because of the chromosomes, they would have 6 fingers. And they were obviously a lot bigger. But it got to the point where the gigantism wasn't always there, and they would just have an extra finger. So when they met a new tribe, they would hold up their hands in greetings and say hello to see how many fingers the person had, because they knew Nephilims were not trustworthy and they were cannibalistic. That's the problem with them, is they are deceivers. All they have on their minds are carnal things: eating, fornicating, and killing. How do I know this? Because I live here among them. Because the only reason I was brought here, I believe, was for my gift of whatever you want to call it: telepathy, clairvoyance, uh, knowing the future. I don't know what you call that. Prophecy. I don't want to. I don't call myself a prophet. I want to be a saint so badly. I'm not. I know. I see it in myself still. I pray all the time in my mind now. I never stop. I know I'm not a saint yet, but there's nothing I want more almost. Well, I want to see my children again, and I know they're not in these vessels. I pray they're not anyways. I'm pretty sure I know who is. But back to the main point. Why do I think that hyperpreterism is not possible? Because the Nephilim are still here. Because 6 years ago, when the first eclipse happened, they were let out of the abyss. And they seem to have entered the vessels of our loved ones, or took the forms of them. Something happened, and now we're having this baby boom again, and there's babies everywhere. Just because someone has pictures of something claiming that it already happened doesn't make it so. I don't think that if Christ was here, he would allow some of the things to occur that have occurred. Even if it's outside of his kingdom walls, even if it's consensual, he would have wiped all of this away. We are told that the old heaven and the old earth would pass away and everything would be restored. I still see animals die. Now, the only possibility, if Christ were here, would be, and I've seen some strange things. We're going to look into this because I'm not sure how it fits into things, but for some reason, animatronics play a part in this. I've been seeing this video where the guy in the Disney thing tells the guy to quit filming. Why? What's the big deal that when these things break down, they don't want you filming? And why in 2017 did they get the Trump lookalike doll? And that's when he changed and he went from Samsung to Apple. And that's what I did too. Like, what is this? Is all something's weird, man. Something's really weird. But why am I difficult? Why do I get offended when people say, Christ could have already came? I just don't think he would allow some of the things to occur that have occurred. These people here, I've been left by my sister-in-law at a bar. Anything could have happened to me. My spouse's alleged best friend threw me to the ground and would not take no for an answer. Him and my alleged son's best friends, the boys that I watched grow up and fed, drugged my drink and did something to me one night a couple of years ago in this very house. I woke up with bruises all over me, went to the cops. They did not take pictures. They did not take me to a hospital. They told me to write down my statement in reverse. That's why I don't think Christ is here. Shame on you people, or whatever you are. That's why don't I think Christ returned? Because he wouldn't allow these things. Because where is he then? If he has this 1,000-year reign and then Satan gets a little time, where does Christ go for Satan's short little time? People need to understand how to read. When you write a paper, when you write an essay, right, there's an opening. You write what's called an opening. Now, I did a paper on fracking, and people hated it. Oh, that's when I started getting stalked first. So, right, I'm going to do an opening paragraph on fracking, and let's say I hit 3 points, right, in the opening paragraph. I'm going to write about groundwater, how it affects groundwater, drinking water, and reservoir water. That's 3 points. That's the opening. Boom, boom, boom. And then in the first paragraph, I'm going to address groundwater only in depth. Second paragraph, I will hit the reservoir. Third paragraph, I'll get in depth with the drinking water. Do you see what I mean? Just like in Genesis, it's not giving you 2 creation stories. It's telling you first, there is creation, and then it's telling you, okay, here's the creation story in depth. Like, I can't believe I have to explain these things to people. Like, I honestly can't. I don't understand. Satan's little time is the tribulation. That's his time. And maybe I'm wrong. Absolutely. But if Christ already came, where is he? How is it that he's hiding? Why would he hide? The only way, possible would be animatronics, because there's no way he would allow this many people. He would not allow the saints and the apostles of old to lie to all of us of the millennial reign, like all of us children. Where would they all go to lie to us? I don't understand. I don't get that part. That doesn't and again, I'm going to talk a little bit about something else, because my dad, when I was 33, my dad is the one who got cancer. And I commuted from Ohio to Pittsburgh every weekend to care for him. And I'm going to change, I'm going to change the picture because I want you guys to check this out. The only way that this could happen would be, but anyways, I'm going to tell you a couple stories here. When I was 33, my dad got cancer, and I commuted every weekend to care for him from Ohio to Pittsburgh. Look at that guy. Wow. Wow, dude. The things that are possible. You ever wonder why they use silver and gold in people's mouths? Why so many young people don't have any teeth? Like, what's actually going on there? Are they people? Like, what's walking among us? How high is the population really? Who are we? Who are we? So anyway, when I was 33, my dad got cancer, and I cared for him. And he asked me, how old are you, Jen? How old are you now? Because we hadn't spoken a few years. And I said, 33, Dad. Oh. In the last 3 days of his life, he really wasn't talking. And he was a pretty healthy guy. He was a marathon runner. And I just sat there wetting his lips and caring for him physically, changing him, changing his bed, doing all the stuff that I swore I'd never do again for anyone else, but I did. And one of the last things he said to me while he still spoke, I said, man, Dad, you are my hero. And he said, no, Jenbo, you're mine. You know, one of my last memories of him and my mother together in Pittsburgh, in Wilkinsburg, I'm going back to the beginning of this video now. One of my last memories of us all together Well, actually, you know what? I'll do one more because again, this is my testimony, so I'm gonna relay it the way that I want because I want to hear your testimonies about your childhood. If you're a targeted individual, or you remember the GATE program, or you skipped a grade, or you lucid dreamed, or you ever had an NDE. I want to hear if any of this sounds familiar to you. So around that same time as I felt like, horrified that I felt like I made that little girl fall, around that same time when it was just me and my dad, then my mom had moved out, and it was all really traumatic how that happened. My dad wanted to force me to eat meat, and I remember sitting there like at the table, and I refused to eat it. I was like, I don't want to eat this. It's chewy. I don't like it. And it was kind of when I was like, I didn't want to eat meat. Like I didn't want to eat it. And I was so ambivalent and I was so against it. Like I sat there and he made me sit there all by myself. He wanted me to eat like an adult and use this steak knife, and I was like refusing. And I got so angry at him and so bored that I set this napkin on fire because he had lit a candle and everything. Like I was like, I'm not an adult, I'm a child. Like I didn't want to. I was so willful even then. And around that same time, we were in the car one day, and I was like, we used to sing along to the radio, and it was pretty cool sometimes. And I remember saying, "Hey, Dad, check this out." And I remember trying to hit a high note, and we were at an intersection, and another car almost wrecked. And I remember him getting very like almost scared, and he said, "Don't ever do that again." And I remember being like, not wanting, like, I love to sing. And I remember like not singing for a long time after that. And I remember my mom was a singer. I used to like go to contests and stuff. Like her friends would like hold me in my blankie while she would sing. And I remember her telling me like, just give it up, Jen. You'll never be a singer. And I was like 10, and it was like so dreadful to me. And somebody recently, just a couple years ago, said, music calms the savage beast. And I think that might be one of my gifts is these things. That's how they're calmed down. Everybody's asking why they're playing all this music at the inauguration. Well, they have to. That's how you calm these things down, or they get too excited. See, the Nephilim, without music, without the right kind of music, they will go on a rampage if they are too worked up. And you don't want that if you're a regular sized man or woman. And you see how large Baron is. And he's taller than and they all are. Again, if you look at Lana Del Rey, Taylor Swift, compared to the little carpenter girl that's touring with her, these are all very, very big individuals. And they're only just now starting to show it. And people need to pay attention to the camera angles. So the last time my mom and dad were together, I remember a conversation that they had. And I remember my mom asking my dad, "Do you think she'll be okay?" And he said, "We just have to trust that she will be." And I remember a dream that I had, and it was me running away from my dad because he had unzipped his skin, and underneath it was one of those trollkin dolls with the wild hair. And I woke up horrified, and I told my dad, I said, "Oh my God." I said, "It wasn't you." I said, "It was you, but it was not you." And he said, "How do you think that makes me feel?" And I said, "I don't know." Now, listen, here's the thing, guys. I don't think I'm always right? But I know that God asked me to do this, and I know that he asked me to be a witness. And I know the only reason that these things want me here is because I have this ability, because they don't have a connection to God, and they don't know what's coming on their own. And I know that my son had Elon Musk, or my what I thought was my spouse, had Elon Musk all up in the computer. I know space isn't real. I know they didn't send a car up into space. I know that's how has all these great gamer stats, is because he doesn't actually do any of those things, because space isn't real. None of that's real. That's how he sits around in games all the time, because he doesn't do any of those things that he says he does. He's a liar. None of this stuff they say they do is real. Money isn't real. They don't need the money. The houses have all been here. They're the inheritors. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say all this stuff's fake. It's like Monopoly, the game of life. And they're just the purveyors. It's like the whole thing is like Disneyland, basically. Like the whole thing is Disneyland, guys. The whole place. That's why they love Disneyland so much. That's why they're trying to. And again, our helpers are here. They're trying to tell you subliminally, so people don't freak out, right? But I don't care about that because I'm like, it's time. People need to just know and just deal with stuff. Like we need to get to where we're like in the know and start healing. But how many of these things do you think are among us? Because again, every time I've been separated from my family, people come back different. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know if people are being like raptured at that point to where God is or, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I want to search something real quick for you. I wonder how close is that where they do all those rituals? How close is it to like Disney World? Because I know they own a lot of land too. Like, who actually owns that land where they do all that stuff, where the redwoods are? I want to see. All right, am I sharing this? It says I am. All right, now I know, again, this might be throwing people off, but I think that there's a reason they don't want you to see the videos of these things breaking down. Kristen warned the MF, I don't know. Now, again, I think that the biblical story is in every story. I can show it to you in Pinocchio. I can show it to you in The Little Mermaid. I can show it to you everywhere. It's in every story. You can't help but see the Christ story in every story. However, there's also a villain in every story. This isn't exactly what I'm looking for. All right, wait. Let's try something else. Yeah. Should I get rid of Disney? Let's try something else because I want to see. I want to add wax figures here. And for fun, I know that they did this around the same time life started getting weird. I want to know what year this was. Was Trump's an insult to the president? It does look a little weird. I want to see the wax figure one though. There it is, January 18th, 2017. That's my mother's birthday. How bizarre. And see, I feel like they almost make it look not as good publicly, just Disney really did turn a Hillary robot into Donald Trump. That's funny. That really looks like her. Remember that one that freaked out a few years back? Doesn't it make you like... And the handlers are just tech people. Like, they're just the tech handlers. And a lot of them are women. That's what you see with the wrestlers. A lot of the tech handlers are women. How bizarre. Okay. Let's check this out. Mostly for the infamous Oscars gaffe, the first human embryo had been genetically edited with CRISPR in Walt Disney World a year into his controversial presidency. What is that? The first human embryo. Why are they including that with that? I wonder. Is it just because that's what happened that year? Curiouser and curiouser. All right. Now I want to just. Oh no, don't do that. Just real quick, just for fun, we're going to see what my Madame Tussaud. Famous occultist. Yeah. That's not my narrative. Just kind of through cult witches, blending modern technology to dive deeper. Just let me know. Huh. So my AI Copilot says that you could combine these elements. Combining these elements, one could imagine a narrative where animatronic figures and wax statues come to life through occult rituals, blending modern technology with ancient mysticism. I was more thinking how we were talking about terms and agreements? Where are you guys? I was more or less thinking, where are you? I was more or less thinking along the lines of like terms and agreements when you fill those out, and how how they were pushing for a lot of that through Facebook. When you do the voice messaging, remember how I was telling everybody like not to do that? Stop doing this. Knock it off. That was my concern, because I had a friend. This is so weird. And I couldn't figure out, I saw her in Walmart at the beginning of all this, and she didn't speak. Like, her boyfriend spoke for her. My husband spoke. Like, I said hi, and she just kind of stood there and smiled. Later on, I had sent her like a message through Instagram, and she said she had gotten something removed in her throat or whatever. But again, people have been very weird for a while around me, especially in messages and voice messages. But again, those terms and agreements, especially with Netflix and how people were trying to push that on me specifically. I get into that in the Joan is Awful Black Mirror episode about how that's a lot like my, how, not how she's like me, but how that's like, I feel like that was like my situation, and how I'm trying to explain the terms and agreements, and how I feel that's like spiritual bondage, right? I would not get Netflix and all that right now if I were you. So that concerns me in these times, people using voice messaging and things that use our image and whatnot, right? Because of things that are coming. The false prophet causes everyone to worship his image, right? Now, is that the Dogecoin? And another thing where I said my spouse had all of like this Elon Musk information in the computer. My son, that's what he called our dogs. Doges. My family has the Antichrist in it. Surprise! Here I am wanting to be a saint and wanting to get my children saved. Surprise! God put a believer amongst y'all. Surprise! Here I am. And he asked me to be a witness for Christ. How you like me now? They hate me. They're probably going to end me. But I'm still here, I'm still standing. So you ask me, does it offend me when people tell me, isn't it possible that Christ already came? No, it's not possible. He wouldn't allow people like me, as much as I've prayed, to still be sitting here and have my consent being throttled, to have me being violated physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. You know what you've done. You know you lie to me every day. You know I've been kind to you. I've been charitable to all of you. I feed you. I'm good to your children. I've helped to raise your children. I've done them no harm. You know what you've done. And in the end days, don't you know you shall judge the very angels? It doesn't say holy angels. We get to judge you for all these things you've done to us. This all started when they asked me to watch my father-in-law, who had a brain tumor. They didn't think I was smart enough. They thought that I was fluff-headed and I wasn't paying attention for all these years. Funny thing is, I was. They thought I didn't listen, and I did listen. His emails, angelfire.com. Check it out. There's a lot of pagan calendars in there too. Tells you what every day is for them, and when their solstices are, and what they do on those days, and when their sacrifices are due, and when they have their little sensual parties. I was only brought here because I have that gift. That was it. That was the only reason. My entire life is a lie. My entire life was wasted. My entire life, my consent was trampled and misused and misappropriated. I did not have to work and leave my children. I could have been home with them, mothering them as I should have been. That is the biggest crime in my life. You violated me more than once. Physically. I can't even use the word. And I'm not going to say the YouTube word everybody else replaces it with. Why does it insult me when people ask me, isn't it possible that Christ already came? You think he'd allow children to be harmed like this if he was here right now? You think there's not going to be justice for that? That's why you leave the room every time you hear there's going to be justice. You can't bear to hear that. You know what you've done. And it can be over if you just say you're sorry. So when my dad was dying, he was 33. Or I was 33 when he was dying. And I asked him once where he had a stab mark right under his left rib. Where'd you get that, Dad? There was a thief, he said, outside of a bar, stealing some other guy's wallet. So he stepped in between them. 2 men. My dad. And for stepping in between those 2 men, my dad got stabbed under his rib and left to die on the railroad tracks, allegedly. His name is Regis. His mom called him Regi, which means kingly. And they hail from France. And I was brought up in North Versailles, right outside of Duquesne. And I never knew. All these years. It took me this long. Half a century. Mom was right, I'm gullible. It's not good to race somebody on the eyes. Look what happens. Look how much damage is done. None of this would have happened if I had known the truth. If I had known I could have made some difference in the world. If I wasn't left with that woman that was supposed to be my mother. It wasn't her when she came back. They did something to my mom because that wasn't her. My mom was soft and kind. She came back after a long time, looking different, missing teeth, not as soft. I don't know why I'm telling this story. I really don't. Except it has everything to do with bloodlines. That's why I'm here. I'm some kind of bait. I figure if I stay in one place long enough, whoever's looking for me is going to find me. I don't know if I can stay in this place any longer. My heart can't bear it. I'm trying to be obedient and stay. Maintain. Everywhere I look, there's pain and suffering. Please do something kind for somebody. Please help your neighbor. All anyone cares about is shekels and coins and gold and stuff. None of it's real. They've made a game of all of it. Half of the houses are empty. No one even lives in them. Then they tell you all these people are homeless. Those aren't people actually on the streets even. I think those are droids. They're shutting down. They're telling you in these thumbnails. They're shutting down. They're serious. We live in Disney World. Like Treasure Island or whatever. Where Pinocchio went. And Satan knows it. And if it is his short time, well, where is Christ? Where? And why are so many bad things allowed to happen still? Free will? Like, is that why? And how horrifying to know, like, everybody sees your life story. How embarrassing. Ugh. Like, are we all Truman to that extent? I can't even, like, ugh. Like, how horrifying. I can't even. You know what I mean? Like, how shameful. I don't know. When everybody figures this stuff out, am I the last one to figure it out? Do you know? Have you figured it out yet? They're telling us, like, they're trying to let it sink in slowly and subliminally, and I see people asking the right question. Anyway, Henry Moon has this thing up that I saw last night, and it was asking about, did Jesus come already? I should pull his page up. I don't know if I can from here where I'm at. Hold, please. I'm going to look weird because I'm going to be searching this while I'm on here with you. So just give me a second to do this. There we go. Oh, no, don't do that. Right here, okay. I like this guy, and I like his channel, and I like a lot of what he says, which stinks because I usually do. Because something about him throws me off and bothers me. Again, he reminds me of somebody I know, and I know a lot of the people that go big for a reason. It's because they want them pushed. I can't put my finger on it yet, but something he does bothers me. Okay, so there was a video I saw. Hold, please. I am looking for it. Need divine counsel? No, that's not what it was. Which one is it? Oh, I don't know if it's here. I don't know if it's in the actual thumbnail. I thought that it was in the thumbnail. Anyways, he puts up, or what was put up, what was posted. It's in a compilation. I can't find it on his page, so I don't think it's on a thumbnail, but it's in a compilation. And it shows a link, right? About our year 1000 being added onto the calendar, and that one not actually being a one, that's actually a J for Jesus, or an I in Latin for Jesus, or J for Jesus, right? And the argument being that Christ was already here and had his millennial reign, right? And right now, we're in Satan's little season. Okay, first of all, they want you to believe that because that will give Satan consent. Again, it is a way for us to forfeit the land, our inheritance. Please, 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 please do not do that. I cannot express to you enough why that is a bad, very bad idea. We are placeholders until Christ gets here. And if he is here monitoring and watching and testing us, that is a really, really bad idea. Okay? Either way, maintain your personal sovereignty and authority in the name above all names, Jesus Christ. Jesus, Joshua, Jesus Christ. Just maintain. Okay? We're all allowed to use that title. Use it freely, period. The next thing is, in this link that he holds up, not only does it say that, it says that the person who wrote it is something like Nora Nunn, Noranunn. The occult people like to do this. It's a double entendre. Her name is Nun, as in a nun with a habit, right? But also None, as in zero, None. Haha, funny, funny, right? And then the phone number at the top, there's like a number, and it's 333-3333. This is your clue that it's a false link, that it's a false article, that it's a lie. So the fact that Henry Moon is posting that, no matter how much you like him or enjoy him, he is showing you who he is, that he is a deceiver. And it sucks because I really like his information. And while, yes, he may still give some truths, he's showing you who he is. I think it's very possible still that Christ may have come in the 1800s. Something happened there. I still could be wrong, but I don't see Christ. I don't know. I don't like, I'm not good with things that are that close to me. And I do see the commonalities with like my dad in that archetypal way. I don't know. I'm bad with things that are very close to me. So it took me this long to like see that my situation was what it is, that it was bad. You know what I mean? Like I thought my husband was the good one of the two of us. And he's like, I can't say he's bad either because I'm wicked, right? Like we've all done wicked here. We were raised really poorly. We were told bad was good. We were like, that's why I don't believe Christ is here, because we were told wrong. And I think our parents tried to tell us it's like school, like for whatever reason, like we're sent to that place. Like our parents believed like the lie that we had to go there. They gave away their consent. And I totally believe that Germany won the war. Like NASA is not about space. It's about mind control. That's what they do there. NASA has nothing to do with space because space ain't real. It doesn't have anything. That's not what they're doing. Like that's not what NASA does. And people still think that's what they do. No matter how many videos you see of them goofing off and making fun of you, you still think they're going to space. People still think Musk is like this hero. Please watch the video of the car in space. Please. Please watch that with a critical eye and tell me that's real. Okay, here's the thing. Go watch like Space Odyssey. That was made so long ago, and I think Kubrick made that too. Go watch Space Odyssey and then watch Musk's car video and tell me that he went to space with that damn thing. And if he's so great at space, why does all these things keep exploding? And he's taking credit for God's work there. That last one wasn't an explosion. You have to understand, like they're gonna take credit for stuff God's doing too. Like they're just gonna do that. So people say, how can he be like top gamer and do all this great stuff too? Like he's amazing. Doesn't he sleep? Well, first of all, no, he doesn't sleep. Second of all, I don't think he's a real dude. Okay, it's not about making fun of his Asperger's or whatever. Everybody has an issue in this time. Every single one of us could have a diagnosis at this point if we really wanted to. Every single one of us is traumatized by our own government, which is literally mind control, which is what NASA does. That's what they do there. That's what they do. Space ain't real. Up into the firmament it is. Like there is air, if you want to call that space. There's room up until the firmament. We used to have like blimps, dude. Like that'd be amazing. Up until Hindenburg, like Indiana Jones. Watch that. Nobody watches movies anymore. Like I can't believe people believe the car video. When I saw that people went for that, like that's when I shut it all off. I was like, I can't believe this. And I told my kids, I was like, this is, and that's when I knew, like, that's when I started finding that stuff. And it wasn't like they were searching for it. It was backwards, right? It was like our computer was the source for that stuff. When I say the Antichrist spirit is in my family, I'm not joking. This isn't to like who would want that? Like who would want to be popular for that reason? I'm a woman who's pretty much still a girl who hasn't been anywhere, done anything, who's isolated on purpose, who likes the freaking peanuts. They hate every good thing about me. They've tried so hard to corrupt me. They can't stand to be around me. I heard the one lady that I was working with, I heard her say, I just can't stand the voice. I can't stand it. She had to play music to be around me. And I think it was my spouse's sister. When I woke up this morning, I had a very faint memory of some Arabic man coming to me when I was about 3 years old, making me say the Islamic Shahada. Shahada. Oh gosh, I love that language. It's so pretty. Like it's. When we lived in the condominium that I was talking about in the beginning of this video, we had a neighbor that I thought I was gonna marry this little boy, and they were an Indian family. And I don't know if that's the same as Arabic, but I loved his voice and I loved that he was darker than me. I don't know. I just thought I thought I was gonna marry him, and like his mom hated me because like I thought I was gonna marry him. So I kissed him one time, like not like a passionate kiss or whatever, but I kissed him and like that was a no. So Indian is very different from Arabic. Oh yeah, I'm sure, but I'm just saying. Islamic Shahada. Indian is very different from Arabic. Oh, and I have an Arabic language book too, but I also have a Greek one and a Hebrew one as well. I just like different culture and different language. What is the Islamic Shahada? What does that mean? The Shahada. Is that like Torah? Is that like your prayer? I don't want to offend and say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Explain it to me so I know. In Indian, I'm just saying like Mid-Eastern, not Mediterranean, but like Mid-Eastern. And again, I've not been anywhere. Like, I've not even left the East Coast of United States. And that's intentionally. They don't like me going anywhere. If you say it, it declares Allah is the only God and Muhammad is his prophet. It's weird. I'm not Muslim. Oh, wow. I can't say that then, because that would deny Christ. But I love Muslims. Like, I love people. You know what I mean? I love everybody. I don't know. I pray they convert, but I love them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think holy wars are the way. Like, that's not my way. I personally don't think it's Christ's way either. What's that movie called with Antonio Banderas? And he's a Muslim in it. Is he the Muslim? And he's fighting with, is he fighting with the Norse pagan guy? Or is it a Norse? I think it's a Norse guy. And they're fighting together. Really good, really good. I like it a lot. I think mankind, I think we need to look at our commonalities a lot more. Like, I think that's where we need to begin. I don't know. That's just how I am. I think psalms are supposed to be sung, and like I've made mantras of prayer, and like, you see what I'm doing now, like this rocking thing. I don't know what it is, but like, it's what I do. Like, when I don't know how to explain it. It's just something that like has started, and I cover my head a lot. Like, I want to say it started with shame, like it really did. Like, I wanted to like when I realized certain things, but now it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. And I figure hoodies are easier these days than like, and they're more gentle on my hair than like being so severe. But I don't know. I've started the rocking is blasphemous. The secret teaching is that the Jews copulate with angels and the Shekinah, the female aspect of God. See, I've never heard that. I don't think of it like that. You've never held a baby then. You know what I mean? If your mind is always on that, that's why the Quran, I started to read some of it. It's too focused on what you do with your body. Like, your mind shouldn't dwell there all the time. The fact that how do I explain this? I don't know how to explain. Yes, you should be aware of what you do with your body, obviously, right? You don't want to I used to not care as much, right? Like, it's my body, I'll do as I want with it. But then I realized that, wait a second, I'm causing distress possibly to other women who are married and with their husbands, and that's disrespectful. So I shouldn't be that way. So I don't want to be that way. I don't want to hurt other women, especially, and especially if they're in a walk with God, and I don't want to hurt their marriages. So I've started to cover up more. However, I think if you hyper focus on the body, you're neglecting the spirit. And if you hyper focus on the body, you become blasphemous for doing that, because you're always focused on that. You turn everything into sex then, because you're focused. Do you know what I mean? You turn everything into a perversion because that's all you're focused on. You're not focused on your prayer then, because you're focused on your butt or your skirt or your knee or your elbow showing or whatever, right? Instead of being reverent and focused on the Lord and your prayer, you're focused on you, on your body. It's not how it's supposed to be. The rocking is not blasphemous. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. When I rocked my babies, was I blaspheming God? Music is the language of angels. That's how we worship the Lord. As long as it's reverent, the Lord loves music. See, some of you people that visit my channel, you think that I don't recognize who you are. And I do. I ask God to bless you and I pray for you, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize you for who you are. And it makes me sad because that means that I really don't have anyone here who just wants to be here and you know. And if you want to tell me there's no female aspect of God, like, I'm so tired of that argument. Like, I'm just so tired of men at this point. I pray for you, all of you. I pray for all of the men. But you're here to protect women. That's your role. You're here to protect women from death, from other rough men. Like, that's your duty. That's your job. Quit being sissies. Quit being babies. Like just stop it. You're not here to harass women. You're not here to tell us to get off the internet. You're not here to rape us. You're not here to overpower us. You're not here to shut us up. I'm not doing anything disrespectful here with my channel or videos to anybody. I'm telling truth. And we defeat the enemy with the word of our testimony, and that's what I'm doing. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Should I remove that? I don't even know what to say about that. Oh. And that's where we have to, like, you can't be afraid of words, right? Everything under the sun belongs to the Most High first. When the enemy takes it, claims it, perverts it, that is witchcraft. Point blank. That's when it's a perversion, right? Is when the enemy takes it and claims it as his or her own. But everything under the sun belongs to the Most High first. All of it. Witchcraft is all about intent and intention. Aaron and Moses used gemstones in the Old Testament. We have to stop listening to wolves in sheep's clothing. The teachers, listen to me clearly. You heard my testimony. You know they live among me. I've shown them in videos. You know they are here. Stop trying to be like them. You will never be one of them. We are literal cattle to them, less than cattle to most of them. Stop listening to wolves in sheep's clothing. They are miseducating you on purpose to take away any type of resistance, willpower, and extra protection that you might have that God gave to us here on earth. For example, in the Old Testament, Aaron and Moses used the gemstones on the vest, all 12, I believe, 4 rows of 3, to protect Aaron from the radiation coming from the ark. That's why all those who went near it without proper protection, who did not follow the instruction to the T, were destroyed and burnt to a cinder because it gives off radiation. That is the holiness of God. That was the burning bush. It burns, but it does not burn. That is the Greek fire. What is that called? Anyone know what that's called? The Greek weapon that was lost. I think that's what we're seeing at work. What people call dues. The weapon from the Greek, from the Roman times. What the heck is it called? I should do a search on it. Hold, please. Let me see if my co-pilot knows what it is. Liquid fire. I can't remember what it's called. Greek fire was highly effective incendiary weapon used by the Byzantine Empire from the 7th to the 14th century, 714. It was liquid concoction that could burn even on water, making it particularly devastating in naval warfare, even on water. The exact recipe for the Greek fire remains a mystery, but it is believed to have included ingredients like petroleum resins and possibly quicklime. The Byzantines used Greek fire to defend their cities and ships, often spraying it from tubes or tossing grenades filled with the substance. Its ability to stick to surfaces and continue burning made it a fearsome weapon. Blah, blah, blah. It was a closely guarded secret, and despite many attempts, rival powers were never able to replicate it. Fascinating, right? Yes, please. It asked if I wanted to dive deeper, so I'll say yes. Where are you guys? History of Greek fire. Okay. I wonder if that has anything to do with the red mercury. But anyway, back to my point is stop listening to false teachers. Like, it's just not going to help you in anything. All right. Did I touch on all that stuff? I did. Okay. And yeah, it's been about an hour and a half, so I should wrap this one up. Let me go through my notes because I have been making notes lately, and I just want to make sure. What's this one? Oh, okay. A little bit, I wanted to mention this. We are, and most people know this, are-ish, living in a time of grace, okay? Or we were. A lot of people, and I was wondering this, like if we're living in a time of Christ, if we're a Christian nation, whatever we are, okay? We're seeing a lot of radical behavior no matter what, a lot of extreme behavior on both sides, left, right, up, down. We're seeing it all over the place. A lot of it is intentional. A lot of it is false Christians who want to make us look bad. And again, that's part of the plan, is to have people in that group or certain groups to make them prime examples, to set an example, to set the stage for intentional persecution. Okay, I've said that for a long time. But on that note, those of you who are say claim Christ, those of you who say, that we have grace or whatever, that doesn't give you the right to just misbehave willy-nilly all over the place. I've got a bone to pick with all these creators who thinks like it's okay to just drag everyone into gossip with these exposed videos, right? Or idolatry with like the cryptocurrency and the gambling, or even the breakdown videos showing people the demonic stuff that like Doja Cat puts out or whatever. We get it. There's evil out there. Why are you promoting it? You're a Christian. Why are you promoting it? See, people don't get it though. They don't look at your thumbnails. Even though it's in quotes and it's about allegedly a video, I'm a Nephilim. Yeah, you are. Ha ha. When everybody figures out like what's going on, you're going to make a lot of people really mad. So I'm telling you guys, you got to get your Zen on. Like you really got to clean your temple so that you know the truth frequency, right? When someone's talking to you and or you're listening to the media, it's best to turn the shit off now at this point. Turn it all off. Find your Zen. Ground yourself every day. I mean, I know there's snow out there now. Do whatever you got to do. Bells are good. You need bells. They're your friends. People are now talking about that on TikTok too. 6 to 8 months ago, there's a video up. I just think I shared it yesterday where we talked about bells and why they don't want them around. They get rid of demons, aka parasites. I showed you this at the beginning of the video. It's what you need. Can you see what's in it? I don't know if you can. Demons, aka parasites, aka the SCN Gospel Book of Peace will tell you about that. Christ didn't have sustenance for 40 days. He had a human body, fully human body. We are all in gluttony. If you're watching YouTube, you are in gossip. But you're supposed to be a Christian, right? So the last point I want to make, you cannot just keep taking advantage of this grace. You know what that's like? You know if a cop pulls you over, right? And you get a good one, right? And you know you were speeding, you're being a jerk. Like you just want to get home. It's after work, your feet are killing you, you just want to have a drink, a glass of wine, eat dinner, hug your husband, hug your kid, watch your favorite show, take a shower, take a bath, whatever. And you're like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to, or maybe you got to get a taillight fixed. And you promise, yes, I promise I'll get it fixed tomorrow. I just really need to get home today. I promise I'll take care of it tomorrow. Then he sees you a couple days later and you still haven't gotten it fixed. You promised him you were going to get it fixed. He gave you grace. He gave you grace. Why didn't you do it? Why did you abuse his grace? It's the same thing. God gives us grace every day. Why are we so unkind to each other and to the planet? I don't care if climate change is real or not. Yes, the climate changes every flippin' season. It changes every day. Oh my gosh. Like, I thought we would be past all this stuff by now. And I go back to work and back out in the world, and it's like everybody has decreased in their ability to communicate and comprehend and think critically. And like this guy's telling me it's blasphemous to like rock as you pray. What is wrong with everybody? I think I touched all the points I wanted to head on. Nobody has given the thumbs up. In fact, somebody took theirs away. It takes a lot of courage to get up here and talk about your testimony, just hoping that maybe somebody else will talk about theirs. Okay, so the food thing I wanted to touch on. I think I know what's going on there. What they're doing there is I wanted to ask you too what it's like for you. And this is for home and work because I live in the same area that I work, so I get from the same place. Produce. And again, I think they listen to me. I think they do know. They're taking the information that I give them and using it. They're exploiting me. Obviously people are talking, whatever as far as that goes. So the food I think is being frozen, and that's the problem. If you're getting food that's already frozen and then you're portioning it out and you're freezing it again, all of the nutrients that were available in it are gone at that point, number one. Number two, by the time you thaw it out, it's just going to be mush. And that's what I'm experiencing with like the vegetables and fruits that I'm dealing with. I call tomato fruit because it is. Sorry. It's fruit. They don't mention vegetables in the Bible at all. It's all called fruit. So to me, tomato's fruit. Okay. But that's what's happening. You can tell if you've dealt with food at all in your life. That's what's going on with it. So if I were you, buy it as you eat it. I know people want to stock up or whatever, but I just wouldn't do that right now. Buy it as you eat it. Really. Because Christ went 40 days. He was all good. Water is a thing. Listen, I would suggest doing like I did and getting something that has a filter. You want a filter that is good against like chlorine. Again, I'm not a doctor. Stuff will be in the, and I'm not a sponsor person either. I'm just sharing what I do in my life. But you want a filter that's good against chlorine and possibly like fluoride. I have a filter in my shower too. And possibly some potassium iodide. It would be a good idea. Yeah. And some masks again might be a good idea. The sulfur smell, it's very possible. I would keep an eye on Montana. I'm trying to give you all the clues I can give you without, the video being yanked. So yeah, go back to the beginning. If you are interested in things like NDEs and you want to tell me about yours, I am so interested in hearing your experience. And if after your NDE, life got different. I do believe there are other dimensions, but I no longer believe in parallel universes and other us's. And I will hit on that in the next video. And I'll tell you why. And there's a very specific reason why. There's a verse, because in the end days, God will get rid of the earth. Heaven will fall away. The earth will fall away. There will be a new earth and a new heaven. One new earth, one new heaven. Okay? So there's only one at a time. So I don't think there's a bunch of different earths and a bunch of different heavens. There's only one you, and there's only one me. We are unique. God loves you. You are beloved. I am beloved. But death is not eternal. Death is transitional. It is a doorway. It is temporary. However, we have to endure until then. You cannot seek it out, so to speak. Okay? I hope that's clear. It's as clear as I can make it for now. Did Christ already come back? I don't think so. I don't think he would hide like this, but anything is possible. So we'll keep exploring both ideas, and we're going to look at this book again. Remember, if you want to know about the past and history, it is best to take it back to an actual physical old book. This one is literally from the 1800s, and this tells you about all kind of things that actually happened. And I posted a link about a plasma issue that occurred. If you want to see that, go to the community page. So again, these things that we're saying, nothing new, man. There's nothing new under the sun. We were miseducated and lied to so that they could do this reset. And again, they all have a part to play. It's all scripted. They all know what they're going to do. We are the only ones who are surprised at this time, which is just silly, right? Like they put us in these parts and it's surprising for us and blase, blase. I just want the truth. I just want to go explore the land, and choose my own adventure. I don't want somebody else choosing it for me, right? Anyways, I love you guys. Stay blessed. And I wanted to set the scene for the next few videos because they're going to get weird. I will do updates as far as Trump and all that stuff goes, but I want to dig into this animatronic wax figure thing. I know that sounds strange, but there's a reason for it, because I think that if we are being deceived about the population number, that is how they're doing it. And I already showed you with Martin Lawrence and Winona Judd, who I think have been duplicated, I'll say. I think they've been duplicated. Replaced, maybe, because I think a lot of the high-ranking celebrities have already went underground, which is dumb. If you read the Bible, it tells you not to do that, but whatever. All right, I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Do give it a thumbs up just so I know. I know I talked about a lot of things there. The testimonial part is at the beginning. I do that because I want you guys to share with me. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful for all the things and experiences God is giving me. What I'm saying is that you can't gaslight me anymore about the experiences that I've had and the life that I've had. You can't tell me anymore that something is good when I know that it's bad. Stop lying to me. You're going to have a big problem on your hands with a lot of us at this point. We're going to have our exodus. You've held us like this and lied to us long enough. What are we, the Cabbage Patch children? Orphan trained children? This is not okay. I really hope I get to meet all the other ones like me. I really do. All the real ones, right? Bye, guys.